2020 to 2024 Extra Class. FCC Element 4 Question Pool. Effective July 1, 2020. Edited by KI5DFU. June 2020. Due to the length of this sub-element, it has been split into two parts. Part 2 of the sub-element E1 Commission Rules, 6 exam questions, 6 groups. Operating standards, frequency privileges, automatic message forwarding, stations aboard ships or aircraft, power restriction on 630 and 2200 meter bands. What is the highest modulation index permitted at the highest modulation frequency for angle modulation below 29.0 MHz? Answer: 1.0. What is the permitted mean power of any spurious emission relative to the mean power of the fundamental emission from a station transmitter or external RF amplifier installed after January 1, 2003 and transmitting on a frequency below 30 MHz? Answer: at least 43 dB below. Which of the following operating arrangements allows an FCC-licensed U.S. citizen to operate in many European countries, and alien amateurs from many European countries to operate in the U.S.? Answer: CEPT agreement. On what portion of the 630-meter band are phone emissions permitted? Answer: the entire band. What notifications must be given before transmitting on the 630-meter or 2200-meter bands? Answer: operators must inform the Utilities Telecom Council of their call sign and coordinates of the station. How long must an operator wait after filing a notification with the Utilities Telecom Commission before operating on the 2200-meter or 630-meter band? Answer: operators may operate after 30 days, providing they have not been told that their station is within 1 kilometer of PLC systems using those frequencies. Amateur space and earth stations, telemetry and telecommand rules, identification of balloon transmissions, one-way communications. What is the definition of telemetry? Answer: one-way transmission of measurements at a distance from the measuring instrument. Which of the following may transmit special codes intended to obscure the meaning of messages? Answer: telecommand signals from a space telecommand station. What is a space telecommand station? Answer: an amateur station that transmits communications to initiate, modify, or terminate functions of a space station. Which of the following is required in the identification transmissions from a balloon-borne telemetry station? Answer: call sign. What must be posted at the station location of a station being operated by telecommand on or within 50 kilometers of the Earth's surface? Answer: all these choices are correct. A photocopy of the station license. A label with the name, address, and telephone number of the station licensee. A label with the name, address, and telephone number of the control operator. What is the maximum permitted transmitter output power when operating a model craft by telecommand? Answer: 1 watt. Which HF amateur bands have frequencies authorized for space stations? Answer: only the 40, 20, 17, 15, 12, and 10 meter bands. Which VHF amateur bands have frequencies authorized for space stations? Answer: 2 meters. Which UHF amateur bands have frequencies authorized for space stations? Answer: 70 centimeters and 13 centimeters. Which amateur stations are eligible to be telecommand stations of space stations, subject to the privileges of the class of operator license held by the control operator of the station? Answer: any amateur station so designated by the space station licensee. Which amateur stations are eligible to operate as Earth stations? Answer: any amateur station, subject to the privileges of the class of operator license held by the control operator. Which of the following amateur stations may transmit one-way communications? Answer: a space station, beacon station, or telecommand station. Volunteer Examiner Program, definitions, qualifications, preparation and administration of exams, accreditation, question pools, documentation requirements. For which types of out-of-pocket expenses do the Part 97 rules state that VEs and VECs may be reimbursed? Answer: preparing, processing, administering, and coordinating an examination for an amateur radio operator license. Who does Part 97 task with maintaining the pools of questions for all U.S. amateur license examinations? Answer: the VECs. What is a volunteer examiner coordinator? Answer: an organization that has entered into an agreement with the FCC to coordinate, prepare, and administer amateur operator license examinations. Which of the following best describes the volunteer examiner accreditation process? Answer: the procedure by which a VEC confirms that the VE applicant meets FCC requirements to serve as an examiner. What is the minimum passing score on all amateur operator license examinations? Answer: minimum passing score of 74%. Who is responsible for the proper conduct and necessary supervision during an amateur operator license examination session? Answer: each administering VE. What should a VE do if a candidate fails to comply with the examiner's instructions during an amateur operator license examination? Answer: immediately terminate the candidate's examination. To which of the following examinees may a VE not administer an examination? Answer: relatives of the VE as listed in the FCC rules. What may be the penalty for a VE who fraudulently administers or certifies an examination? Answer: revocation of the VE's amateur station license grant and the suspension of the VE's amateur operator license grant. What must the administering VEs do after the administration of a successful examination for an amateur operator license? Answer: they must submit the application document to the coordinating VEC according to the coordinating VEC instructions. What must the VE team do if an examinee scores a passing grade on all examination elements needed for an upgrade or new license? Answer: 3 VEs must certify that the examinee is qualified for the license grant and that they have complied with the administering VE requirements. What must the VE team do with the application form if the examinee does not pass the exam? Answer: return the application document to the examinee. Miscellaneous rules: external RF power amplifiers, prohibited communications, spread spectrum, auxiliary stations, Canadian amateurs operating in the U.S., special temporary authority, control operator of an auxiliary station. On what frequencies are spread spectrum transmissions permitted? Answer: only on amateur frequencies above 222 MHz. What privileges are authorized in the U.S. to persons holding an amateur service license granted by the Government of Canada? Answer: the operating terms and conditions of the Canadian Amateur Service License, not to exceed U.S. Amateur Extra Class License privileges. Under what circumstances may a dealer sell an external RF power amplifier capable of operation below 144 MHz if it has not been granted FCC certification? Answer: it was purchased in used condition from an amateur operator and is sold to another amateur operator for use at that operator's station. Which of the following geographic descriptions approximately describes line A? Answer: a line roughly parallel to and south of the border between the U.S. and Canada. Amateur stations may not transmit in which of the following frequency segments if they are located in the contiguous 48 states and north of line A? Answer: 420 MHz, 430 MHz. Under what circumstances might the FCC issue a Special Temporary Authority, STA, to an amateur station? Answer: to provide for experimental amateur communications. When may an amateur station send a message to a business? Answer: when neither the amateur nor his or her employer has a pecuniary interest in the communications. Which of the following types of amateur station communications are prohibited? Answer: communications transmitted for hire or material compensation, except as otherwise provided in the rules. Which of the following conditions apply when transmitting spread spectrum emissions? Answer: all these choices are correct. A station transmitting SS emission must not cause harmful interference to other stations employing other authorized emissions. The transmitting station must be in an area regulated by the FCC, or in a country that permits SS emissions. The transmission must not be used to obscure the meaning of any communication. Who may be the control operator of an auxiliary station? Answer: only technician, general, advanced or amateur extra class operators. Which of the following best describes one of the standards that must be met by an external RF power amplifier if it is to qualify for a grant of FCC certification? Answer: it must satisfy the FCC's spurious emission standards when operated at the lesser of 1,500 watts or its full output power. This is the end of part 2 of the extra class sub-element 1.